Today what we're going to do is we're going to use graphs to evaluate and perform operations. So instead of trying to make whole new graphs, I just decided, you know what, let's just look at the assignment. And for some of you, that means you'll get like number 1 done, and then like 2, part A and part B done. So you'll be ahead of the game a little bit. And it's easier just to kind of show you kind of the form of this instead of... In all honesty, I was lazy and didn't make new graphs and just wanted you to have graphs in front of your faces, if you want me to be honest about it. I got lazy a little bit. But that's okay. So when we're using graphs to evaluate and perform operations. So in other words, kind of like yesterday, it says find the value of the function. It says find f of 6. So if we remember from yesterday, if you were asked to find f of 6 yesterday, you're given a function. So let's say f of x is equal to x plus 2. And you were asked to find f of 6. Well, we said yesterday when you're trying to find f of 6 or g of 6 or whatever, what you're doing is you're replacing the x value in your function with what they're telling you the x value is equal to. So they're telling us in f of 6 that our x value is equal to 6. So this is our x value right here. So we're replacing it with a 6, and then we get 6 plus 2, which is equal to 8. Well, in actuality then, what this 8 is that 8 is what f of x is equal to. But remember, f of x is a function. We can write a function as an equation by just making it a y. So really, when you're evaluating a function, all you're doing when you're evaluating that function is finding a coordinate on the graph. So what this 0.68 is saying is if I were to graph this function, x plus 2, that the 0.68 is going to be part of my graph. And so are all of the other points that are on that line. So let's say that I wanted to find f of 2. In other words, I wanted to find when my x value was 2, where does my y value fall? Because I know that x coordinate is going to be 2. I want to know where that y value is going to fall. Well, in this one, it's just 2 plus 2, and it's equal to 4. So I know that the 0.24 has to fall on that graph. And I can pick really any value I want to for x. I can pick a 3. I can say, okay, let's find f of 3. F of 3, if I look at it, it's going to hit my graph about right there. Okay, I don't have any coordinates on this graph because I just hand drew it, but I know what 3 plus 2 is. It's 5. So I know the 0.35 has to be on this graph. So in other words, that x value, this part right here, that's just going to be your x value on your graph. So we can evaluate graphs with just that piece of it right there. We can find that y value by taking and saying, okay, I know my x value has to be 6. That's what my x value has to be. What is my y value going to be? Well, if I take my graph and I go over to 6, there's 6 right there for my x value. Now I can just draw a vertical line, and where the graph that they've created for us, which is this right here, they've kind of given this graph to us, or this function to us. Where those two meet, that's going to be my y coordinate when my x value is 6. So f of 6 is actually equal to 2. Because if I go over 6, then I have to go up 2 to connect with my graph. That's where I get the 2 from. So if I want to find f of 2, if I'm finding f of 2, that's saying I'm going to the right 2. how many do I have to go up to intersect with my graph? And I have to go up 4 to intersect with my graph. So f of 2 is equal to 4. So 0 and 7, because if I look at 0, it's right there. It goes up there. It intersects with 7. So the answer is 0, 7. Okay, so don't say it out loud, but figure out what 5 is. It's going to be an approximate, right? So what is it about? 1.5? So 5 is here. It's about right there, so it's 1.5. And you're done. That's all that's asking you to do. That's all you have to do. Keep in mind, again, that's inside of parentheses. That's your x value. So go over to that on the x-axis. And then just draw a vertical line up. And wherever you intersect your graph that they give you, that's going to be your y value, or that's what it's going to be equal to. Okay? Part E of this says, for which value is the statement true? So in this part E, it says f of x is equal to 1. So if f of x is equal to 1, which are they giving me? Are they giving me the x-coordinate, or are they giving me the y-coordinate? Is this part right here the x-coordinate or the y-coordinate? The 1 is the y-coordinate. We don't know the x-coordinate. That's what they're asking us for. So in this case, we're kind of going the opposite direction. Instead of going over and up, we're going up and over. So if I go up to 1, and then I start going across, what's my first x value that has a y value of 1? 4. If I keep going across, notice there's another one, 9-ish. So it's in at 9-ish 1. So again, it's about keeping track of what is what. What's inside parentheses is our x value. Technically speaking, what you're finding it equal to is your y value. F of x, y, same thing. Most of the time. Okay? So that's kind of the first part. The second part of this, let's get rid of this. I don't know why this is like this. Oh, yeah, I do. The second part of this, then, is going to have us evaluate for the following. So using kind of what we did yesterday. So the first question says, evaluate the following. F plus g of 1. So we're taking these two graphs. This is my g of x. This is my f of x function graph. And we're going to kind of combine them by adding them. So the first one says, find f plus g of 1. So if you remember from yesterday, that means that we have to find f of 1 and add to that whatever g of 1 is. So now we got to do two. We have to do it twice. First, we have to find f of 1. So here's my f function. I'm going over 1, and then I draw my vertical line. Where they intersect is going to be what it equals. So f of 1 is equal to 2. Now I have to find g of 1. So I go over to the g function. Go over 1. Go up 3. So g of 1 is equal to 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. And that's your answer. Really doing the same thing we did up above. You just need to watch what graph you're using and make sure you use the correct graph. In this case, g of x is the first one. F of x is the second one. So the second question, or part B, says find f times g of 3. So that means we're going to take f of 3 and multiply to that g of 3. So go ahead and do that. Find f of 3, figure out what that is, find g of 3, and then multiply those two numbers together. Peek up real quick, see if you got what you got. Should have got -6. One more. And let's do one more. Go ahead and do part C, and then we'll call it good if we're ready to go. Try part C. F of 5 minus G of 5. What's F of 5 equal to? 2. Go over to the 5, and then it's up 2, so 2. G of 5, 3. 2 minus 3 is -1. And you're done. Okay? That's all you have to do when you're doing these today, when you're using graphs to evaluate and perform operations. Any questions with this? Remember, the x value, draw a vertical line. And where it intersects with your graph, that's going to be your y value. And then just perform the operation that they give you. Okay. There are going to be some in here that have no solutions. Remember, you can't divide by 0. But yeah, that's using graphs to evaluate and perform operations. Any questions?